we have successfully proven that I am better than Pav. So.
Well, unfortunately, that wasn't recorded. So hey, everybody.
We will have on my screen, so we'll see when this goes up. Oh dear. Can you imagine though, if it's not in the final like broadcast version, what will people think we were discussing? I want to see that. Floyd, tell us what you think, because he's going to be listening. We know that much. Anyway, welcome to the stream, one and all. It's
Oh, millions of you.
all millions of you. It's bloody cold. It's bloody
All
November.
200 minutes of you.
All 200 minutes. Core is with us here in spirit, if not in mind, because his mind has been consumed by Warlords of Draenor and this eternal queue.
Luckily, he is screen sharing, so we will have live up-to-the-minute coverage of how long it's going to take to log into the servers.
Yeah, it was 800 minutes a few minutes ago, so, you know, he's time traveling.
Working on it. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there. Eventually is seemingly getting away from you at the moment as the timer is increasing.
Eventually.
It's going up.
Yeah, by quite a bit. This is the most exciting podcast we've ever done. We're live streaming Core, waiting to play a game.
Oh boy.
Seattle Dane. We make it feel like it's forever.
That's not true though, because we actually had that one stream after the stream. I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and you could watch me play like 3 frames per second. It was pretty awesome.
It was the best.
Actually.
It was.
I'm actually surprised at how many frames we're getting from Core's live stream. Although I fair enough, it is just a pretty much static picture of a gate.
Oh,
it's under 200.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh my God, we might actually.
It's almost there. Oh, there it is. Another 4,000.
Are we recording? We want to catch the exact moment.
Right. 4 down, 39,090. Well, I can't even numbers today. Fuck it. Right. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Say words about things.
Potato, cabbage.
Bottom.
No, talk about plums.
Ooh.
You're not saying it right. It's potato and cabbage.
Ooh. Cabbage. Cabbage.
Come on. Fucking last round of reviews.
Right,
Talk
yes.
about them.
God. Always so demanding. Okay, so yeah, we had last round, which I am pulling up right now.
The most prepared streams.
I'm so prepared. So the first pick we had was Cool Jazz by Owlor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really interesting one. It was how did I describe it? I didn't say it was stream of conscious, but more kind of like a mood piece, basically. The plot is essentially that Twilight is in a jazz club and listening to jazz, and this is Twilight of all ponies. So she has her own very egg-headed, I guess, interpretation of what's going on. But she's just kind of getting swept up in the music, and it was just kind of enjoyable to see her whole mindset on that.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, what'd you think?
I thought that part was interesting, like, specifically the how it like analyzed her thought processes.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly at the beginning, because toward the middle and then toward the end, it was actually her doing stuff, so she wasn't quite thinking as much. But at the beginning, I really enjoyed how analytical the author got with what she was thinking about. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So hopping right along, second pick was Home by RB-47. I don't know, the name doesn't sound very familiar. But that was a really sweet piece. That it was very inspired by life events by RB Dash. But basically, just it involved a lot of like family and traditions and just kind of the memories of the holidays as they evolve year after year. And it really strikes a chord. And I mean, I mentioned this in my review, but just the by putting an aspect of yourself in the writing, it resonates a lot more than just, oh, I want to make the reader feel sad. No, I mean, this is something real, and you can feel the emotion behind the words.
Yeah. That's really. I'll add to that.
We prefaced this. We prefaced this at the beginning. Core is gone. He's still in the line, but he's already been sucked in by WoW. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only 3,954th on the list. It's a wonder he's even still here.
But yeah, he pretty much hit everything I wanted to say because it is very sentimental, the story. There's some things that our family does that we keep sentimental. Like my mom has this thing with we have this stuffed turkey, and every year we would always have us, like the kids, sit around. We'd always take a picture of us, and then like every year it was like a shot of us getting older, and that's something that I ever come to appreciate, at least, because before, like when I was a kid, it was always annoying to have to be torn away from the TV, but you know, you grow into that sort of thing and you understand it, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fair
that's
enough.
basically what happened to her with Applejack.
If you're
I will
curious,
point-
the first two stories, if you add up their word count, they add up to fewer than the number of people in the queue.
Right. I will point out something which I found rather ironic is that RB-47 posted a blog asking why, where all these views for home had come from, and it's like, oh shit, I'm an idiot. Thank you, Angel. So,
Yes, he added that as an edit later.
yeah, site blogger doesn't read the site blogs. Yes.
and he flat out, you know, we made fun of him for that, and he's like flat out, yeah, you know, I don't, unless 90 like announces there's gonna be some sort of patch to the site. I don't read the blogs. I don't care about the blogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Ah, dear. Number 3 then, Pat.
Number 3, Core. Do you want to start with this one? This is SOS Dan Equestria. The Flowers of Spring.
Oh, jeez. This one. I'll say it was pretty wacky. I mean, I'd say again, I never saw the show, so it was very weird going into it. Like I mentioned, Shiny and was Sunny Springshine. I think was the name.
Mm-hmm. Those are actually two different characters. Which yeah, that was until you mentioned something I didn't even that kind of connection and overlap didn't even cross my mind. So I'm like, oh, that would be very confusing.
Yeah, so that took me a little bit, but once I did get past that, it was fun. It was fun to read it as like a crazy like anime kind of thing.
It's extremely anime.
Yeah, they kept the anime thing going very well in the story.
So to explain what's going on, this fic was a crossover fic with the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and
I couldn't say that even if I tried.
Core had not heard of this anime like at all going into this, so he went in blind.
What anime is this?
I thought that
Exactly.
I thought that was just a joke for your review.
No, it's an actual anime.
No.
Oh.
I put the little YouTube video, the little Miku Miku dance characters dancing. I mean, yeah.
I don't click on those.
Well, I don't click on you, so.
He's a squirrel. He doesn't have to click on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's an anime crossover with an anime that Core had never heard of. So he was helplessly lost, but you know, he went into it basically saying, you know, yeah, I'll give kind of the objective review of someone who's not familiar with it, and versus me who was familiar with it, and so wasn't confused by all the crazy anime shit that was going on. And I mean, it was pretty fun. That you know, it very very much just, you know, all of the characters are pretty blatant XPs of the characters from the anime. So you know, there's just a one-to-one analog, and they have all the same personalities and quirks, but then they're doing a little bit more pony-ish things, and it's in an equestrian setting, and so it kind of blends the two spirits of them together, and I thought it did a pretty fun job. I mean, it was just kind of a fun, lighthearted read.
Well, not many crossovers can say that they actually do that. Successfully crossover pony and the source material, that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was actually curious though is that one of the characters they mentioned was actually from Earth, even though the rest of them weren't, and that was kind of confusing.
In the original one, that character is actually an alien, and so the analog in this pony fic was that he's actually a human.
Gotcha. Just
Obviously.
Obviously.
Sure.
That makes the most
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I mean, that is a good point, and maybe we could go into that a little bit more in depth. But doing crossover, there's no one way to do a crossover. There's like 3 or 4 different flavors of them, and each of them all present their own challenges. But I thought, for what it was setting out to do, and just kind of telling a fun little 10K story that was kind of a rambling, meandering plot, which was kind of the source material. Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
So going down then to story number 4. So this one was Half Baked by Aquaman, and
Who's that guy?
we had a story about RB Dash when when his fic got into there, and then apparently when Aquaman found out that we had posted this one, because this was like this fic was uploaded October 2011 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, he's just like, "Oh God, why did they remember? I hope everyone had forgotten about that fic."
Yeah, one of his first comments was, "Oh God, I wrote her accent. No." So yes, he was surprised that we decided to feature that story.
Mm-hmm. But no, it was a fun one. It was apparently written for a speedfic contest hosted by Serial Velocity back in 2011.
Good lord.
So, yeah, just
Yeah, he did it in 2 hours, which I think is impressive.
yeah. I mean, it like the thing that kind of jumped out to that one is that it was very much a season 1 fic. That it had a lot of like season 1 references. The characters were just a little bit. I want to say simple, but not in a bad way. They were just kind of like more distilled, like kind of how you had seen them in some of the earlier episodes. And so it had this kind of interesting, especially reading it nowadays. Like, I mean, this one, obviously when it was written, it would be perceived a little bit differently, but now it had kind of almost a time capsule aspect to it.
I like how the way that the show's progressed means that we can pretty accurately judge what season the story was written in. We don't even have to look at the dates. We can just go, does this contain a 20% cooler joke? Yes, it was written in 2011.
There was not a 20% cooler, but there was a 10 seconds flat. So
right, of course. I just love the idea of Aquaman writing 10 seconds flat into a story is a very strange one to me.
I don't
We
think I
were
want to live in that world.
we were very much sweet summer bronies back then.
So true.
No idea what we were beginning.
Having met Aquaman in real life, he is like the least stereotypical brony. He is basically the guy who you would imagine shoves a brony's head in the toilet into this world.
I mean, his forearms just like.
Pretty much. He lifts, bro. So
He does lift, yes. And ironically, I did. There was one of the panels at BronyCon. I forget which one it was, but like the line was kind of short, and I was feeling like being my usual sassy self, and so I asked him. I don't actually have a question, but whoever is the next question, could you flex while answering the next person's question? And, I think even though he's like a fairly jacked guy, I think he actually got a little embarrassed. And he was just like, it was good fun.
Yeah. He's a cool dude though. Aquaman's real cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Fun fact, slight update. I may be going. I think Aquaman's coming to BronyCon again this year. He said he would. So I may be able to see him once again because it is looking more and more likely that I can make it to BronyCon.
Nice.
I may actually go to BronyCon for the first time.
Yeah.
You really want to try and go.
Mhm.
Quills and stuff was
Indeed. Oh dear. Is that the last of them, I think?
That is all of the fics. Yeah.
Excellent.
If I can count to 4, I think that's it.
Apparently I couldn't count to bloody 3,900 a couple of minutes ago. I
Whoa.
couldn't
You
even
kind of
say
passed.
it.
You were overachieving.
Yeah. You've moved forwards a whole 200 places in the queue. This is like being in London on a Saturday night. You're just stuck outside everything, just queuing up. Fantastic.
This is like watching soccer.
This is
And
this is the part of the stream where we will now quiet down and watch intently.
I wanted to talk about a different video game though, because I'm in a chat with a bunch of people who regularly play video games together, like Arch and M1 and various other people are in there, and a bunch of them are early access people for Elite Dangerous.
ooh,
Which is a video game which they're all playing and they're all having the time of their lives. And I've not got early access. I pre-ordered it, so I'll be getting into it in December. But until then, every fucking day they just reveal like, oh wow, this neat thing. And I just, but for those who don't know, Elite Dangerous, because apparently, just a small side tangent. I mentioned it in the BronyCon chat, and only Skeeter the Lurker had heard of it. Nobody else has heard of this game, which is a bit shocking. So I'm gonna, rant about it a bit here. Elite Dangerous is a very soon to be released video game, which is basically you live in a sci-fi movie. That is basically the video game. You can be a bounty hunter or an asteroid miner, or you can go off and fight wars between the Federation and the Empire, or for the independent planets.
so it's basically like Eve, but you're one individual person.
It's like Eve, but without the spreadsheets.
Yeah, without the spreadsheets and without the sort of like.
So Eve, but with the fun.
Yeah, with fun. It's really it's not even out yet, and it's really fucking in depth. Like you've got interdictions. Like in it, you've got 3 modes. You've got your standard just pootering around in a spaceship, just traveling at normal speeds. Then you've got sort of like I think it's called Super Cruise or something, which is very fast travel within a star system. And then you've got hyperspace sort of thing where you jump between star systems in a matter of seconds. Apparently, if you were to leave your computer on for years, you could slowly make your way to the other star systems at normal speeds. And it's going to be an entire galaxy with billions of explorable planets, and each it's incredibly massive, and it has just the most intense amount of detail on it that I've ever seen from a developer that couldn't get someone to publish their game, so they got it through Kickstarter. Like, Elite is a well-established series. Like, Arch keeps on telling people about how he used to play one of the early Elite games on the BBC Acorn or something like that, which was an early computer thing from way back in the mist of times when dinosaurs ruled the earth. So it's been around for a long time, and nobody wanted to. And it's the same guy from before. It's the same dude running the company who made these games in like the 80s or whatever. And he just couldn't get people to invest in the game, which is really a bit sad. Related to this is the release of Assassin's Creed Unity, which came out a couple of days ago and has been panned across the board for being shit. And I bet that had no problem getting bloody published.
It was because they took out pirate ships. That was, I don't know why they did, but they took away the pirate ships, and now,
well,
now
to be
guess what?
fair-
It sucks.
To be fair, why would you have pirate ships in the French Revolution?
Why would you not?
Why wouldn't you?
That's like right in the middle of the Age of Sail.
Yeah, everything should have pirate ships. Elite Dangerous has pirate ships. That's why it's going so well.
Yeah, you notice that the moment Assassin's Creed took away pirate ships, there was a sharp drop in quality.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely 100% true.
But I mean, it's an interesting analog because I mean, you can make similar arguments about some of the creme de la creme that we've gotten in this versus some of the shovelware books. We were talking in another chat about like young adult authors and how it's not. I'm not trivializing the networking and the application process that's required to get in there, but once you get in, it's like you can basically publish whatever the hell you want. And, it's
Vampire romance novels, yo.
One thing which is a fairly accurate comparison is like Alien Isolation came out very recently and has gotten pretty good reviews across the board for being both true to the original franchise and honestly, genuinely scary. And at the same time, The Evil Within has come out, and Alien Isolation is the perfect example of a tense horror game, and The Evil Within is a perfect example of what horror games shouldn't be, and what Dead Space would have turned into if they'd made another one, you know? That was already heading towards. So, there's an awful lot of evolution going on in the games industry at the moment. Some of it's fantastic.
Talking
And
about
some
Elite
of it's-
Dangerous reminds me of another similar game coming out.
Star Citizen?
Not quite that, but No Man's Sky, which
Oh!
which seems to be looking to be like the space version of Minecraft,
Mm.
but with the infinitely procedurally generated universe.
Interesting.
It's very stylized and
3D Terraria.
yeah, kind of.
Not Terraria. There's a Terraria in space. I
Oh,
can't remember what it's called.
Spacebound or something?
Spacebound. That's the one.
There's a lot of emphasis on exploration, and you'll actually be, if you find a new kind of creature that nobody has found yet, you will actually be able to give it its common name. All of them will have a Latin name, but
Oh,
you will be
wow.
able to give it its common name. So
Oh no.
yeah, the developers have said that they are willing to take that risk.
Here on this planet is filled with greater spotted dicks.
Just name it all after Cards Against Humanity cards.
Yeah, pretty much. I like Elite Dangerous. As I mentioned before, it's going to have 1 billion planets or something, 1 billion star systems even. If you go to a star system that nobody else has been to before, you can actually get a explore. You get paid for your cartographer devices, information on the star system. Like, if you run low on fuel and there's no way to refuel your ship, you can activate a scooper thing and skim hydrogen off stars. Admittedly, at the time, you will be very close to a star, so it will probably melt. But, if you can pull it off, you got your fuel to go back home.
What if you're just stuck in between systems?
If you are stuck in between systems, I think you need to blow yourself up and just try again. there is a self-destruct button, and you can pick another ship. But you're free to become a bounty hunter or a pirate or a trader or all sorts of things. It's
I've heard
the open world, but open world doesn't really cover the scale because it's open universe. So
I've heard interesting things about NPCs actually getting personalities as well. Like they'll slowly develop their own careers alongside you.
There are definitely NPC. There are NPC assholes. I can tell you that much. Jesus Christ. But you can try smuggling contraband, and there are there are security vessels, and if you're discovered smuggling contraband, obviously you're gonna get blown up by the Coriolis station's defenses. But you can try and sneak past them. The two favorite ways to try and sneak past them are to either shut everything off your ship and try and produce as little heat as possible so you're not noticed and just sneak in through the front door. But someone can just look out the window and say, "Hello, there's a ship there. Let's scan it." The most effective way of smuggling contraband into a station is to get straight in front of the station as far away as you dare and fly towards it at top speed, like a fraction of the speed of light, and come to a stop within the station.
Pav, what are you doing?
I am being vandalized right now. This has been silently going on for the past minute or two.
It's quite nice.
What?
I feel so beautiful.
I like how every now and again Core's screen just says searching for a face. I can't find him.
Let's find a face.
Seattle's Angels. We review fics, I think.
Ponies, I guess?
Pony would probably pony if it weren't for us.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Oh hey, Core's got the Mighty Jingles in another tab.
yeah, I do. There he is.
Yeah.
But you can't see that, can you?
No, we can.
We can.
Oh, I got whole screen on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna watch videos with Core now? Is that what we're gonna do?
Give us an update on Warlords of Draenor. We need an update.
Yeah, what the hell? You took the counter off the screen. How do we know how close you are on your queue?
Yeah.
We gotta religiously watch it every second.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, there you go. We're good. We're good, guys.
There we go.
Good.
Hey, no change at all. Okay.
More time than it was before.
See, that's what you get for looking away from it.
Yeah, you've been punished, Core.
Hey,
Now draw doodles on the faces of the portal.
it was worth it.
Here we go. Oop, that's way too big.
Ah, dear.
So yeah.
Oh, God. Slightly related video game news. A random friend of mine actually gave me Far Cry 3 for the first time, apropos of nothing, which was really quite awesome of them to do. So I've spent the last day or so setting fire to various parts of the jungle island. The fire physics in that game are pretty spectacular, I will say. You can honestly start a genuine forest fire. It's fantastic.
I enjoyed Far Cry 3 as long as the protagonist was silent.
Oh God, yeah, his voice isn't great, is it? Like
The whole person is not that great.
I think the most annoying part about him is like when he tries to like sound intimidating, he just shouts with this sort of slightly squeaky voice. Like when he's saying, "I will lead you to glory." It's like, oh.
Yes, the developers promised this big long journey, emotional journey through trauma and whatnot, but then like all you got to do is stab one guy, and then all of a sudden your main character's like, "I love murdering people. It's so fun."
I do like the idea of like a character losing touch on their like I suppose maybe not humanity but their civility, like becoming sort of savage as they live in a sort of jungle world, but it wasn't handled perfectly, let's face it.
It wasn't Lord of the Flies by any means, I guess.
No, a couple of days into being stranded on an island, and he's biting bullets out of his arm and snapping his wrist back into place as he stabs people to death with a machete.
That was one of the big draws of Far Cry 2, was all the healing animations.
Yeah.
Oh
Where
God!
you would like dig pliers into your skin to like rip out the bullets.
Yeah, he does that with like a scalpel. The most disturbing ones I find aren't that, but if the last damage you've taken is full damage, then part of his arm will be dislocated, whether it be his thumb or his wrist or something like that. So he just grabs it and goes chunk, 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 and snaps his wrist or his thumb back into place, and it's a very visceral kathunk when it happens.
There's actually a bug that I saw with that game where you could run over into like a swamp, and the swamp was poisonous, so it would like slowly take down your health. Like it wasn't enough to kill you. So you keep taking damage, and he'd be like, ugh, and then he'd like suddenly have like a broken hand, and he'd like pop it back into place. And then he'd like, ugh, from more of the swamp, and he'd like dig a bullet out of his chest. Like, where's all this coming from?
Oh dear. That said, Far Cry Blood Dragon does look quite spectacular. I want to give that a shot if I can. I just love that for the ridiculous amounts of cheese it has. It's fully aware that it's cheesy and it sort of embraces it and lives in it. Because you are like a cyber commando leader, or that's like your official rank, as you go around with a laser bow and arrow and fight blood dragons and stuff like that. It's pretty spectacular.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Yes, that is something that would be nice. I think we had the most questions we've ever had last week when Gardez was on, but you know, that was kind of to be expected when we have Arch in the chat.
So wait, you're saying that when we actually have interesting guests, people like care to ask questions? Wow.
Yeah, that is a point.
I don't know if I believe that.
Floyd says he has a question.
Yeah, oh no.
Someone had questions earlier, and they said, "Oh, I've got such a great question." But then they didn't actually see what the question was.
What a tease.
I know, right?
Wouldn't it? That's actually a fair point. I'm gonna
Oh,
throw
okay.
a thing out to the
That was fun.
1,000 minutes. Jesus Christ.
Huh?
I'm gonna throw a thing out for the chat. Is there anyone you would like to see us get on the stream? And before you say no, you cannot promote yourself. And before you try and get around that, no, two of you cannot promote each other. I'm looking at you there.
I mean, that would basically be circle jerking, and I thought that we here at Seattle's Angels were all about circle jerking.
Uh-oh, Floyd has an
Uh-oh.
actual
Uh-oh.
writing question.
Oh, it's an actual question. What the hell? Damn it.
I've heard from multiple people that... Go on, Ed. Go on.
I'll answer the same question. 1, 2, 3. I've heard
from multiple people that
right action.
What makes a good fight scene? Perfect.
How do you write a good fight?
What makes a good fight scene, and how do you write a good fight scene? I think that I cannot answer.
All of my vast experience.
Okay, show of hands who actually has written a fight scene.
I have.
I raised my hand too, yeah.
Okay, so we do have some people who have written it. Okay. Over half, actually. So there we go.
This reminds me of a related point, which was...
That you need to write a story?
Yeah, that too. It's 50,000 words long, Pav, and it'll make you cry. It'll make Pav cry. So, there was a person who was asking in one of the various forums about pacing, because someone was saying that their work was too slow, and the person asking the question's counterpoint was that if someone is like, you should base the tense of a scene based on the characters, which I completely disagree with, because you base the speed of the scene depending on what's going on in the scene. You know, like he was saying that. Well, my example used to counter him was that while a character may be psychotic and taking a scene slow and really going into the grisly details of what they're doing may be good for promoting them as a psychotic person, that would only work in a scene which slow, like a low action scene. You know, like you wouldn't just take a break in the middle of a pitched action scene to explore why this character is actually kind of quite crazy. You know,
I mean,
brevity is the soul of wit, as they say.
Yeah. If you really wanted to do that, you might have him, like, you know, bend down and be torturing someone in the middle of a battlefield while there's explosions going around, and he's literally just taking his time. You know?
Yeah, that would work to show how unhinged they were, but the scene itself would still be fairly quite fast-paced.
Yeah.
Yes, as far as fight scenes go, it's all like Plum's been talking about. It's all about the pacing. You know, if you're in a fight, then obviously they're trying to kill each other. There's not going to be much time for thinking or doing a whole lot of introspection, unless it's some sort of, you know, climactic duel. Like, say, I remember the duel between Luke and Vader from the Empire, Darth Vader from the Empire Strikes Back was rather drawn out, and there was time for talk and there was time for, you know, character exploration and all that. It depends on what you want the scene to do for the reader. Do you want it to be exciting, or do you want it to actually explore the characters?
Like if you were in a fight scene, like you're in the middle of a war, and you could write slower and write drawn out longer sentences to explore the effect that this fighting is having on a person, like they're maybe getting shell shocked or something like that. So that would be one reason to write a long sentences and drawn out fight scene that isn't actually very fast paced. Whereas if you want to have like a katana duel between two people, chances are the majority of it's going to be fairly short sentences, pretty snappy, pretty intense. So, you know, it depends on what you're going for.
Running with that example with the katana fight, if you had a katana fight in a movie, what would be involved in that? Well, you would have someone who is an actual fight choreographer who is going in. And I always like to think of it in the context of choreography, and it is a dance of a sort. That you are having these at least two. Sometimes there's like two sides versus each other, or there's like kind of a free for all. But there is this dance going on. There's the action, which so someone gets hit with something and they flinch back, but then they lunge forward to the punch. So it really helps, I think, to especially if you're more of a visual thinker, to think through the scene visually, outline how things are going, and have that strong mental image so that you can what is going into that scene that you're writing. That's not necessarily to say that that's how you portray it in the story, like thinking, of course, taking Siren Song. That Siren Song is to me what like a Harmony Theory is to a couple of you other guys. But
Yeah, boy.
in that story, we have a character who starts out extremely timid and really just completely shell shocked when any of these fights happen. So even though you can tell that there is good fight choreography going on in the background, we're stuck in first-person narration with a fraidy cat, and so she's just kind of ducking down, and it's just kind of like, I thought I hear this loud explosion above me, and then I look up, and I thought there was like a pony here. What wasn't it? And the implication, that the pony got kaboomed. But you can kind of as long as you have the choreography down in your head, then you can kind of play around with do I describe this in great detail? Do I use short action sentences to really move the pacing fast, or do I play with it in other regards?
Another thing I'd like to add to that is how you guys are saying short action sentences, but you do really need to want to have like a rise and fall of the action. So because if you're just being hard straight through, and you turn it up to 11, you're just staying up to 11, then each individual hard-hitting sentence isn't going to hit very hard because you haven't laxed off to let the next one have its full punch. So sometimes, you would have the short sentences, and then you could intersperse it with a longer sentences that's kind of introspective of something, and that can give more depth to how it's actually affecting the character.
Yes.
And not even just within sentences, like within scenes themselves. Like one of the examples from before was the Star Wars fight between Darth Vader and Luke. You had that sort of father-son chat on the edge of a cliff, which was right after laser sword fight to the death sort of thing. There's a lot about juxtaposition in this sort of thing.
Yeah, very few people read the story to read a good fight scene. The fight scene has to have a purpose within the story and for the characters. Unless I don't know, you're John Ringo or something, and you write books just for the gun wank or whatever.
Yeah.
I think you're actually referring to R.A. Salvatore.
I haven't read many of his books.
Too, yeah, he does that too.
So yeah, you need to hold in your mind why you were writing the scene and what are you trying to get across with it, and from there you can sort of work out where you need to go with it and what you need to slap it alongside and stuff like that. So
I would say another aspect of it too. Make the consideration. I mean, especially if this is in the context of it's one thing if it's just kind of a one shot and you have just a quick action scene in there. If this is like some sort of sprawling, epic, dangerous business style, and you have multiple action scenes throughout the story, you can take into consideration how important is this action scene. I mean, you don't need to constantly have every action scene outclass the other one and be bigger and badder. You can have the quick fight that is just kind of a curb stomp, and then you just kind of because it's not important and because it's very clear and decided, you don't spend a lot of words on it. You just say, oh, and they kind of beat up these guys and da-da-da.
And sometimes it's even preferable to just skip the action altogether and go straight to the aftermath.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. It's true that it's very difficult to get if you're having the same sort of characters and they're in a similar situation, it's pretty difficult to have a drastically unique fight scene. So a lot of the time, it's just simply just to not have. Like people have seen these guys fight before. Another fight scene could easily get quite boring. So just skip over it. You know?
Another thing is like for Impact, you could even just have like even less detail than you would expect to see. Like someone would just say like, and then he was gone, and you're just like, wait, what? And you're just kind of left wondering what exactly happened. Kind of. Well, I didn't really come out to say that very well, but like, do you guys get what I mean when I try and say that?
Playing with expectations, yeah, and just kind of throwing people for a loop, and especially if you scene cut away from there, then you can use that to kind of yeah. Arch says that he's having trouble taking me seriously with my decorations with my pieces of flair.
Well, to be in his defense, you are a loser.
Can we just can we remove like some of the things, but then like still leave the text on there? I don't know.
But Mustache, can we do that?
No, so you get to everything.
Sad face.
There you go.
There we go.
Fantastic. Oh dear. So that was a very long-winded answer to a fairly simple question.
That was a question.
You wasted about 10 minutes-ish.
Waste of being the keyword.
Seattle's Angels, we're here to waste your time.
Let's face it. If you weren't here, you'd just be sitting in the queue for Warlords of Draenor. So.
That's what I know. That's why this is the No Excuses episode.
Yes. Reminder to people, please ask bloody questions. Jesus Christ.
Let's see. Is Groot asking if a sex scene is important?
I think he's talking about the explosion.
Where's my boom booms? I believe was what I was referring to.
Well, just another question anyways.
We could talk about sex scenes.
Boom booms and onomatopoeia, and it's
Seattle's
how do you use
After
it?
Dark.
Okay, so while looking at that, I just had a look at the group itself, and I just noticed the person after Arch in the user list is called "I will murder your fucking family."
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will murder your. Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay then.
With the user image being the flip pad, the notepad from.
Oh gosh.
Oh, what's it called? Don't hug me
upstairs. Yeah.
The third one of those came out recently.
Yep. It was okay.
It was okay. Yeah, the first one was definitely my favorite. I use the term favorite loosely. The second one was okay. I know a lot of people really didn't like that one, but I found it.
It was pretty creepy.
I guess if you can get desensitized, I mean, the first one was the first one, and now that it's a series, people are like, well, where's this one has to be more shocking.
The third one, I kept waiting for it to get creepy, and then it never got creepy.
It seemed to have more of a. It seemed to have more of like a message about society than anything else.
Yeah. It was slightly creepy.
It wasn't like overtly gross.
It goes with like the gory aspect.
Yeah, they weren't like pulling like hearts of animals out of random things, except for at the start where they had like a basket of uncooked chicken wings that they were eating, including the chicken or the duck or whatever it was. So.
Well,
I was expecting. Yeah, we do have an actual question, but I'm just gonna say I was expecting them to like do a close up on the duck's face and just have him like rows of razor sharp teeth, like something about Five Nights at Freddy's. So.
Oh God. What is the fixation on this game? I've watched some Let's Plays on it, and
it was a fad, and it also
it still is because they came out with the sequel like 2 months after the first one, and so now there's a sequel, and everyone's still playing it. And I don't know.
Well, it's because it has something of a what some people like to call intriguing backstory, and that helped develop a lot of the fandom. And
like the first game itself is actually pretty good for an indie title. Like I'm not gonna go out saying it's the greatest horror game ever made, but it's not bad at all. The second one so far has proved to be fairly bullshit because they ramped up the difficulty like tenfold.
You literally have like 10 animatronics to worry about now.
Literally 10, yeah. But the thing is, there was a video which I saw uploaded earlier today, which was Mike the Mike. It was uploaded from him live streaming Five Nights at Freddy's 2. He said he was playing the Sixth Night, which is a more difficult version of the Fifth Night, and he said, right, I'll give it 3 more attempts. After that, I'll go play some fucking Kirby or something. And literally, the first 5 seconds, he was dead. 5 seconds, done. Golden Freddy killed him in 5 seconds flat. No joke.
You good, Scrub?
Yes. Golden Freddy reappears and he's an insta-lose. You can't avoid him.
Yeah. You can avoid him, but he's a lot more difficult to avoid than anyone else. It's his thing. So.
Arch's question. Ever come across a story with sex where the sex actually progressed the plot?
Well, that's assuming I've read a pony story that...
Define how we're using the word plot. If we're talking about progressing the plot, then...
A fair few of them, but yeah.
Who wants to field that one?
I'd have to give it an honest thought. Like...
Well, I mean, Reggie in the chat points out romance reports, and that's kind of, I mean, he said it debated, but I mean that's one that gets kind of, for what the plot is, it does, you know, the relationships in there. The story is all about relationships and Twilight.
Yeah, the story is sex, basically.
Basically, I mean, so I mean, it kind of cheats in that regard, but the scenes are not just used for titillation. They are used to, you know, for what the plot is used to, you know, have revelations or things that, you know, at that scene, well, you know, now we're discussing about things after the scene or even into the next chapter. And so I guess that would be my, well, I was going to say advice, but I mean, I guess that would be my indicator. You know, if you're trying to have a scene that is actually worth including and not just doing the fade to black, then it has to be something where there is actual, you know, well, I mean, like we were making the analogy previously with the fight scene. You know, the fight scene, if there's nothing going on, if it's just going to be a thing that happens and you get over it, you can skip the fight scene. Basically, same with the sex scene. You know, you can just fade to black and okay, that thing happened off screen. There's no need, you know. Aside from obvious titillation and you know, that kind of stuff.
Like, I want a clarification. Is it a story with sex, as in, would implied sex count? Because I can think of maybe 1 or 2 with them, but I'd really struggle to think of a story where a genuine sex scene would advance the story.
It's very hard to use the actual act of sex to advance your story. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been able to do it. I'm sure there's someone out there who has, but
I'm sure there are many who claim they have, but fewer that actually have.
Well, it also depends. Are we talking fan fiction, or are we moving beyond that to?
I assume everything.
I was actually going to say, back in my AP English class in high school, we actually had to read a book called The House of D'Urberville, I think it was pronounced. And
yeah, Test of the D'Urbervilles.
Yes, you've read that?
Yes, I had to read it for high school.
Okay. Yeah, but like when she gets raped by the guy.
Yeah, that was an interesting part because a lot of people got caught on that because it didn't actually describe.
Yeah, it didn't really happen, but it was still like the whole last page of that chapter.
Very heavily implied through a lot of very flowery prose, and people were like, well, you know, since this is such an important moment for the character, did it actually happen or not? And
yeah, but really, that's the thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you know, those aspects like, you know, either actual full-on rape or, you know, more just kind of like the lay back and think of Britain kind of thing, or lay back and think of England.
Well, see, in this case, it was like a turning point for the character because she realizes that the guy she liked wasn't actually a guy that is likable. Mm-hmm. And so the actual act of sex did not really need to be described. because you know what's going on. I mean, just kind of like how in a fight scene, you don't need to go into every single twitch of the muscles that a fight scene entails. And it's not just a matter of good taste. It's a matter of, do you really need to write it all out? No, not always.
In that case, the thing that's important to write out is like the main character and like her thoughts and emotions. In this case, negative is just like, oh, this isn't the man I thought he was, or
yeah.
Arch has clarified he means a quote-unquote in-your-face sex scene. So
no, then no.
It would need to be a story where the act of having sex would be an important moment for the characters. And while I can see that being a thing, I don't think I've read it.
If you could somehow write like sex scenes as a lightsaber duel from Star Wars or something. You could probably be entertaining and
no, just got a sex scene where one of them says, "I'm your father."
Oh, well, yeah. Probably a poor choice of words on my part.
I was thinking more along the lines of the lightsaber duel, and going to say that the male shipping is not too popular in this fandom, but
A sword fight.
A brief
sword fight.
like being serious, would a Brave New World count? Do you think?
Hmm.
Because that one got pretty graphic with it.
Yeah, I would say
it wasn't in your face, but it was still very...
I would say yes. I would say yes, because let's face it, a lot of sex is used just to titillate. Brave New World, it uses that to show how far people have fallen.
Yeah.
It's
just like, I remember like the first part was she was like using a vibrator and they were just like talking to each other like, hey, what's up? And they're all just like sitting there on the table.
And then wasn't that one scene at the end where the guy got murdered and the mob that killed him like starts having an orgy after they kill him?
Yeah, because they had the drugs.
Yeah.
They were the stupid people that were after their drugs.
Yeah, so it seems like in all of those examples, whether there's something uncomfortable with the relationship, or like a rape scene, or a situation like this where you're using it to show something about the society, like in all of those, basically you're using sex to almost kind of in a negative light, basically. Anything where you're using it in a positive light, it's like.
Say that the counterexample of that would be a story about a previous rape victim who then learns to trust someone enough that they can have sex without implications. So
yeah, but even then, in a situation like that, or like the culmination of a very long romance, which finally they celebrate that romance. Like in all of those situations, couldn't you just fade that to black? Like is there a strong need to show that lovemaking without
some people probably would appreciate the catharsis. I mean, if you just really wound up about the character, you're like, no, I got to see them bang.
I think when a defining aspect of someone's character is, say, they are a rape victim or something like that, then it would actually kind of a bad move on the author's part to just remove the scene where it shows them finally overcoming their demons, and just sort of like, even if you remove the sex from that equation and it's just completely nonsensical, like, oh, this person's finally conquered their fears, let's not feature them conquering their fears, let's just fade to black and say they did it. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Yeah.
So yeah. So I can see situations where having a sex scene would advance the story in some way. I just haven't ever encountered it in an actual story.
It's if some stories are written specifically for the sex, and then like romance stories, the sex scene would be the culmination. Romance stories, the sex scene would be the culmination of the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think, that's also the potential trouble you run into is, if I just have you avoid this in a situation like on our website because we have things clearly tagged. if you are just picking up a paperback book, you could have this budding romance that is will they, won't they, spread out throughout the entire book, and then you say, oh well, we have to have this culmination, and then you have this very graphic sex scene in an otherwise like teen young adult rated book, and because it's not like a big sticker on it telling you this is mature rated, like that kind of the readers feel a little cheated or betrayed that that they were not necessarily looking for that when they got into the story.
Yeah.
So you need to handle it more carefully.
But I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think you can argue that about a bunch of different sort of scenes. Like if it was a battle scene, if it was like a story about someone becoming a soldier and most of it's PG, and then at the end of it, someone's intestines are looped around the ceiling fan, then
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I just definitely agree with that.
Well, yeah. I'm probably not the best person to ask because I've had the mature filter on since like January of this year, so. I'm surprised it took me that long to simply stop looking at mature fics on FinFic.
You're a wiser man than us.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't get that. I don't get that luxury because in the right group, I've been billed as the only person who's willing to read Fallout Equestria spin-off fics, so I get all of them.
So you get all the not even the good mature, just the wannabe.
I just.
Was it one of the first things we gave you, like a 300,000 word story?
Yeah, one of the first things was, I think it was Fallout Equestria New Rome, and then after that I had New Pegasus, and I'm currently reviewing one for Ryan as we speak. So that's fun.
If there was also a way to filter out human fics, then I would actually enjoy browsing FinFic.
It would be interesting if you could filter by tags.
But then you lose like every single Equestria Girl story.
I so very want them to add like Derpaburu style tagging to fics that I can say like, oh, filter out all Fulcon. Hey, I don't have to worry about that Rainbow Dash Fulcon incest fic lingering in the feature box for 8 days. Hey, that'd be wonderful.
Is it I know, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
Sadly, yes, and it pissed off a lot of people because especially with the feature box changes, that thing just sat there for days, and it's like,
not as bad as Cards Against Equinity or whatever.
Yeah, that left the feature box and then came back.
It goes back up to 1.
No, it left the feature box completely and then got back in. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It left completely, got back in, and then went to number 1 after it already left the feature box.
So it hit number 1 twice.
So it's like a cockroach that won't die.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't even a particularly good story, so whatever. Yeah, I think it only left the feature box earlier today, and it got up there like a week ago or something. But yeah,
I think.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, I think Derpaburu style tags could certainly be interesting. Arconix is actually a moderator over at Derpaburu, so he sees an awful lot of shit over there. Good lord.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
So the interesting thing that I've wondered about, because I definitely, it would be great for me because, me as a reader, because I'd be able to say, I don't like X, Y, Z, I can filter those things away, or I specifically want to search for, like, shipping fix would be great for this because
you could just search for the Trilesti attack.
I want to search for my particular ship, and rather than have to look for romance with these two characters, but like maybe one of the if I'm searching for Apple Dash, and I would potentially get some Rarijack fics that have Rarity and Applejack, and then Rainbow Dash as a secondary character. So you'd be able to very quickly filter exactly what it is. But the thing that I've wondered is that the way that it works on Derpaburu is that it's not just the artist who can tag it. Anyone, the uploader or any commenter, anyone can tag that. And so I guess like with
by that same measure, everyone can also remove tags.
They can, but I mean with art, I mean, I'm going to posit something, and then you guys can tear this apart. But like with art, I feel like you put several hours into one piece, but you put it out there, and this is a piece I like, but it's there isn't such as heavy investment, whereas with an author, they might spend, months or even years in some cases working on these very long stories, and then they would lose authorial control over the tags, and it would kind of take on a death of the author what the community feels that should be tagged. Do you feel like that would be like dangerous, or do you think that that's for the best of the community, that the community decides rather than the author?
I think that would be. I think this system should be in the hands of the community, because I don't necessarily agree that the author himself should be the one who picks the tags. Like, if an author is absolutely 100% convinced that the story they've written is a comedy, despite the fact that all it contains is a 20% cooler reference and the rest of it's about how terrible Scootaloo's life is, then it should be up to the community to do that sort of thing, though. Like, not even just like author stupidity or author malice. Like, maybe the author isn't aware of the word Twilestia, so when people can add the tag Twilestia for the author. The halfway house thing, of course.
At the same time, though, you run into the problem of comedy being one of the most subjective things. So you'll have people saying, "Oh, this isn't funny," and then you'll have people saying, "Oh, this is funny."
Well, I suppose in that, part of the main job of the Derpaburu mods is that they have to police the tags, because obviously there are some people who will go around. Archer's told me numerous stories about one person who goes around removing the anthro tags on things and placing the tag winged hooved humanization on them and stuff like that. Winged humanization and stuff like that, because
there is a difference. There's anthro, where they're like, Rainbow Dash is blue colored and she has hooves but then fingers, versus winged humanized, which is where she's just a normal human, like even more human than the equestrian girls look, but then she has wings, and so you're gonna get into weird wiki edit words like that. You're gonna have like.
Tag battles is what they're called. And yeah, Archer's just commented, says, "The shit I have had to delete. There are tag guidelines and a very heavy moderation of stupid tags." So yeah, like, I'm imagining you get people like Kabar42 adding the "this story is bad and you should feel bad" tag to things. So,
yeah, or even the opposite. You have like on Derpaburu, you have the upvotes galore tag, which I guess that has moderation on exactly what qualifies for that. But you're going to get people who like are just adding these tags to basically fish for readers and fish for upvotes. So it wouldn't be something that would be heavily moderated and controlled.
So yeah, it would be an interesting thing. Like, it would require the Finfix staff to either like quadruple their workload or just get much more people to specifically look over the tags. Because while I imagine Meester would do a very good job of policing the tags, I can't imagine it would be safe to give Meester more reason to be pissed. So.
Tag, Meester hates this.
Oh, do you remember the group where it's a group called Users Meester Doesn't Hate, and Meester created it and then locked it? But then, some of the mods, they can get into locked groups, so they joined it too, and he was quite annoyed. Dear. But yeah, I've actually got a question from RT Stevens.
Hey.
Yeah. With all the side stories of Fallout Equestria that you have read, do they add to the original? Does it help expand the universe? Short answer, no, because nobody bothers to like collaborate their universe. Every single story I have read has a bona fide version of Las Vegas, whether it's Las Pegasus or Las Vegas or Dies or various other things, and none of them agree with each other. So in that way, they don't. That said, there are maybe one or two side fics which are actually pretty good in the way they expand on the original. Like, one I quite like, which is actually longer than the original, is called Murky Number 7. One of the reasons I like it is because it actually shows the effect Little Bit has on ponies beyond her immediate circle. And go on.
Have you been keeping up with that story? Because
Number 7, yes.
All 30,000 word updates?
Yeah. You say this as you are someone who reads short skirts and explosions. Do not lecture me on long updates.
Ooh.
Tell 'em.
I like how
I'll just leave then.
I do like how he edited whatever it is, End of Ponies to be shorter chapters, so now they're only 20,000 words long.
I will say on Fallout Equestria Fix, there is one fic. What frustrated me about Fallout is that it seemed to spawn a whole, I hate to use this word, but verse.
Yeah.
But like everybody in that verse becomes the big hero of the entire verse. Like Little Pip in the first story saves the entire. She doesn't just save like a city or a town or like a part of the way. She saves like the entire world. And then like everyone who comes after her saves the entire world as well in their own little portion of the wasteland.
Thankfully, I've not encountered many stories. Well, thankfully, I have encountered stories that try to do that, but thankfully, they are the ones who are also shit in many other ways, so I can justify not reading them all the way through. For Project Horizons, I will be prepared to say is probably the worst popular story I've ever read. It's pretty god awful.
It's worse than the incredibly dense mind of Rainbow Dash.
Good lord, yes.
It's
That's
pretty
impressive.
bad.
It's incredibly dense mind if Rainbow Dash is your least favorite fic on the website. You've got a lot of reading to do. There's some stuff that's much worse than that.
Oh no, there are. See, I differentiate between something that's bad and something that's my least favorite.
Fair.
They're two different things.
Fair.
There was only one Fallout Equestria fic I read that I truly thought like did its own thing and yet helped add to the Fallout Equestria. I don't remember what it's called. I will probably never find it again because it's like the Moby Dick of Fallout Equestria stories because like the only one I really enjoyed and now I can never find it again. But it was written as a really good story. It takes place like within the timeline of the first fic, but does not interfere with the events of the first fic. It's kind of like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, but like they're watching these important events from afar while they are having their own adventure.
I know what that is. That is Anywhere But Here. It's written by.
I know about that one. That one isn't bad, but it's not the one I'm talking about. This one,
I've not actually read that.
The way this one is written is the prose was almost dreamlike in many places. I could say, like one of the main antagonists turns out to be like this sentient AI or something that creates this robot bug army called the Choir or something, and it was just written very well. I was surprised at it was the kind of writing I'd expect from like Colden Gardez or something, and I was actually surprised to find it in the Fallout Equestria fandom. But like I said, I'll probably never find it again because I can't remember what it's called.
Plum, Project Horizon, was that the one that you have like this huge ranting post about how like it completely disregards the original Fallout Equestria and it has author insert and
this is like Present Perfect posted a comment on my page a week or two ago saying thanks for this comment, Plum, now I can justify not reading Project Horizons. And yes, Project Horizons features a character called Golden Blood who is like Blue Blood.
I thought that was Blackjack.
No, Blackjack is the main character, but there's a character called Golden Blood who's like the nephew of Blue Blood, and he basically does everything. Like everything to do with Fallout Equestria was actually him, everything. He started the war and he ran the ministries and he killed someone and he basically like this one OC pretty much did absolutely fucking everything, and it just.
But later on, you find out he was actually a victim.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every single bad guy in the Fallout Equestria Project Horizon story is a victim.
And it makes it even more ridiculous because this guy who basically ran the world somehow ended up being a victim himself, even though he controlled everything that happened.
Yeah, like one of the early bad guys is like a mercenary who's like half tank basically. He screams cunt a lot. and he's an absolute arsehole who rapes and does all sorts of things. He's a victim, you know. He was mentally challenged before this, and you should feel sad for him because someone took advantage of a mentally challenged. Then the person who was ordering around this psycho raping tank pony, he was also a victim because he's just trying to save his wife and kids who died, and like I just gave up. I gave up when the main character Blackjack was fighting a 50-foot tall mutated prison guard who was
50-foot tall. What?
He was mutated by a nuke that crashed into the prison but didn't go off, and then they didn't kill him. Eventually, he was killed by a laser that came out of a city that no one's ever been to, and they don't know what the fucking no.
But what?
Yeah.
Just take our word for it. It's not a good story.
It is not. It really is not. Good God. Ugh.
That I don't understand.
It's impossible to understand. Just leave it be.
But this is the guy who wrote Simply Rarity. How can he write something so terrible?
I don't know. He did write a few good stories before, and then he started Project Horizons, and it basically killed him.
Yeah.
Or killed his creativity, or whatever you want to call it.
It's just.
It's like he's trying to, I don't know, prove himself with this story or something.
Like he even has a chapter where the main character of his story, called Blackjack, teams up with Little Pip and they go stomping ghouls in the underground. But Little Pip doesn't remember any of it, so you know, like.
Little Pip's not even that great of a character to begin with.
No, I fully admit that the original Fallout Equestria has plenty of problems. I'm never going to claim anything but that. But this just doesn't. This doesn't fix any of the problems. It suffers from the same problems and has worse problems.
I'm struggling to imagine that there could be a character worse than Little Pip.
Project Horizons is basically trying to be the first Fallout Equestria, but more.
Yeah, it's their reimagining of it and 20% more edgy. But yeah, like it features Discord. Discord turns up at one point, and do you know what's happened to Discord? The ponies were torturing him and using his blood to make chemical.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, they were using his chaos powers. I don't know.
Yeah, they were using his chaos powers to make alicorns. Like, and of course it was Gordon Blood who did this again. So
I don't understand.
So next question before we spend all night on this crap.
For the love of God, let's not talk about bloody Project Horizons again. Yeah, Horizons is still going. Yeah.
So did you just say next question, or did you actually have a question?
We want more questions.
We want another question, please.
We did have a shout out earlier for the fact that I was eating Lorna Doone, our sponsor for tonight's stream.
What the fuck?
They're basically biscuits. They're shortbread cookies. Yeah.
Okay.
We need to make like,
No, you need trefoils.
we need
Hey, we're almost under 3,000.
What?
We need to
We're
make
almost
Lorna
under
Doone.
3,000.
Yeah.
Noise. Oh, Lord Almighty.
Our John X brings up the suggestion of having a Fallout Equestria fic written by Short Skirts and Explosion.
Crossed over with TCB.
That would be something magical.
No, but if it was crossed over with TCB, then they'd quit it like 3/4 of the way through because they didn't like where it had gone, and then everyone else would write 100,000 chapters. So yeah, like, I mean, I was gonna say, I mentioned before that I actually quite back to the question about do any stories expand on the universe. None of them work together. Like there is no
Cohesive grouping.
cohesive verse. There is no cohesive verse that goes on in Fallout Equestria. Everyone has their own mini verse that goes on in their heads. One or two of them are pretty decent. Like I like what goes on in the verse of Murky Number 7 because I've said this a number of times, but it shows the effect of what Little Pip has done on the slaves who are working there and the sort of the hope trickling through them sort of thing. I just like that story. Whatever. But aside from that, I struggle to name one that actually builds on the world in any meaningful way.
Have any of the ones you've reviewed for Right been not terrible, just kind of meh?
One of them has been meh. Like, back when I read it, Fallout Equestrian New Rome or whatever it's called was, it was okay. It wasn't spectacular, it wasn't very good, but it was readable, certainly. But then again, I only read the first few chapters of it, so for all I know, he's completely reinvented the universe and Gordon Blood's done everything again. So whatever. Oh dear.
But I mean, taking that question and taking one step back and making it a little bit more general, like, do people, especially on this website, is there any good verse? Because I mean, generally, like, winning verse gets slammed. Lunaverse doesn't get that much.
I think it's more just a lot of these verses don't really need to be verses.
Yeah. I just don't like the term verse in general. Like,
Do you like
chances are you.
I mean, My Little Pony is our verse. Yeah. Do there really need to be sub verses within the verse?
The entire point of it is basically, I mean, every story is by its nature non-canonical. I mean, I ship 2 ponies in my story. You ship 2 ponies in your story. That doesn't necessarily mean that either of these ships are taking place in the same story together. So the entire idea is that there is some reason that, one story, or, a collection of stories rather, would merge together to either tell the same story, or that there would be a main story and there's enough about a secondary character that's worth exploring. Or like in the case of, like, I think, like the Lunaverse, where it's kind of like doing an alternate retelling of most of the main episodes. So just kind of like divvying up that work across. So it's more less of a verse and more of a collab.
Yeah, it's not really properly a verse unless all of the authors are working together and telling the same general story. Because
they're telling the story.
In my experience, a lot of so-called verses are really just authors copying the same ideas off each other.
Yeah, like one quote-unquote verse was the chess game of the gods verse, which was basically everyone wrote this human turned into an animal.
I do not care how cool Rust is. I will never forgive him for introducing that, ever.
Yeah. I think the Legend of Echo the Damodog actually started out with a decent premise. It was a human in Equestria story, sure, but it was the human in Equestria story done differently. It was one that of course everyone bloody did one in the bloody chess game verse was born, but the idea of a person turning up as a diamond dog was fairly novel. And then he just at the time, and then it just sort of turned into the exact reason why people don't like human in Equestria. Like, out of curiosity, I read the first chapter of the sequel.
Wasn't that the Griffin one?
No. Someone wrote a side story, one featuring one of the characters. That one was bloody stupid. It was, I got run over by a car. By the way, I know kung fu. Now I'm in Equestria. This is a school kid. A school kid got run over by a car and ended up. No, it was called Griffin the Griffin because
that's what I thought it was. The Griffin one.
Yeah.
Chess Game of the Gods was basically like the prototype Lohab.
Hold on, guys. Look.
Shit.
Look at it.
It's happening.
Happening in Heads 5.
Oh boy!
Oh, it went up to 3,000. Oh, wait.
How are you losing position?
There he is! Oh my
it's
God.
under 3,000.
Blizzard, you trolls. Please.
Blizzard smiles. Blizzard smiles
How
upon
did you get longer? Like, are people cutting the queue somehow?
I don't know.
I think Blizzard is just confused.
Yeah.
They're WoW Premium Gold users.
Oh, dear.
We should really bug Nighty, see if he can re-enable FinTech Gold accounts.
That would be
Those are
fantastic.
great.
Oh god, what was it? Oh god, I'm gonna pull up something with Wandery. It was an idea from him for next April Fools. I'm gonna share that with you guys. It was pretty fantastic.
While Plum's looking for that, so
We need to talk about the real verse that's actually good. Please, Paul.
No. The idea from Wanderer D is that for April Fools next year, you know how if you get updates for stories that you favorited. For his idea is for April Fools next year, you get an update from every story you've downvoted.
Oh God.
And see what happens there.
I've downvoted some pretty nasty stories. That would be an interesting.
Yeah.
An interesting
He
day.
actually looked into my stats, which were quite interesting. My upvote to downvote ratio is apparently 5 to 8.
oh wow.
Yeah. And apparently my account
You're
was
just a
logged.
big ball of negativity, aren't you?
Yeah.
Apparently so. And apparently someone logged into my account in Bradford. Apparently. He told me that my account was logged in Bradford in June, and I've never been to Bradford in my life. So...
You haven't been to Bradford that you remember.
True. I could have gotten absolutely blackout drunk and just forgotten the whole thing. So. That was interesting.
Getting back on the topic.
Yes.
For these verses, then, I mean, every verse by its nature starts with one original fic, and like there was that comment earlier, "I'll never forgive Rust." How much responsibility does a author? I mean, there's definitely some authors that strongly encourage the verse and help it to grow and blossom. But how much responsibility does an author have for like stifling a verse or telling people to go fuck off?
I give
I think
Alex I fully blame Alex for Epic Ninja Gamer's sequel to his Magical Girl Spike story,
Oh,
which completely missed the point of the original. No. But yeah,
I think at the very least, an author, or in this case, Rust, could distance themselves. Like say, well, they can write it if they want, but it's not exactly. Because, like I said, a lot of verses. Like I said, a lot of verses are literally just copying off of this original fic idea.
Yeah, and so that if they just distance them and say whatever, the thing is, the verse is still going to blossom, and now because the author has distanced themselves, they have no influence over it turning into a shithole.
right.
Well,
That's
yeah.
what Sunstroke and Rob have done regarding past sins in My Little Dashie.
Yeah.
Like
Can you imagine if there was an official Dashie verse? Oh God.
Oh boy.
the My Little Verse? Yeah.
There is like an official sequel, and I think official sequel to the sequel. I think, or at least two stories that got really popular.
There's a bunch of sequels. I think there's one which got quote unquote called an official sequel, but I have no idea if Rob actually knows about it.
But there are like a couple stories that got super popular out of like the millions of others.
Oh, I was thinking of, for a second, I was thinking of the like sequels to the Cupcake story. Like there were one or two which were called official sequels, even though nobody's like heard from the author of Cupcakes for years or whatever. So.
I've actually spoken to him once.
Did you call him a shit bag or something?
Yeah.
Something
along those lines.
Something along those lines. Okay. But yeah, like.
But he's kind of like Rob in the sense that he's actually a cool dude.
Is he? What's his name? Sergeant Sprinkles or something?
Yeah, Sergeant Sprinkles.
But yeah, so there's one Cupcake saga which is quote unquote official, which is all about Rainbow Dash after she's recovered from Pinky being batshit and stuff like that. And I don't think I can really put the blame on the original authors for like people writing spin-offs. Like it's not like an author can go around just saying, no, this is my OC, do not steal. Like,
do not steal.
Yeah, like, it's claiming plagiarism and fan fiction. Oh boy.
I do blame authors for encouraging the use of their so-called verse, though.
I can totally blame people for.
But
So-
if they encourage it and if they have tight control over it, and like the original author is getting involved in like quality control, quote unquote,
Mm.
Then in
like.
theory, yeah, the verse could be pretty good.
This just
But
reminds me. Of
I haven't
Jimmy
seen
the
that
Great.
happen.
But I mean, I think there's strong coordination in Lunarverse. There's strong coordination in Winning Verse, and people still hate these verses.
My problem with the winning verse is less because it's a verse, more because it's shit in general. So, I dislike the Lunaverse because of what it is. It's retelling the original story. It's like, oh, what if Twilight was a sandwich? Let's go tell this story. Well, that's not something I'm a fan of. But I don't know.
What if she really was a sandwich?
Yeah, like I said, we're kind of all misusing the word universe because they're not really a shared universe at all. It's just a bunch of people said, "Hey, we're all going to write this idea, and we're not going to give each other shit for plagiarizing."
Otherwise known as a collaboration.
Yeah.
Kind of a roundabout way, but sure.
Mhm. I think this all just reminds me of Jimmy the Grape and the Lohav thing, where, like, he encouraged Lohav, and eventually he got sick of it, and then he threw a temper tantrum and deleted everything and got really butthurt, and is kind of now throwing hissy fits at them on. He's convinced there's sort of like a Fimfic Illuminati, where if you're not a member of this clique of popular authors, and they're only popular because the system made them popular, of course. If you're not a member of this group of popular authors, then it's physically impossible to get your story featured. So.
Does the Illuminati literally control the feature box? Please tell me.
No. It's Fimfic Illuminati led by Nighty and Obbs, and apparently Wright. He says Wright hates him. I don't think Wright has ever interacted with him.
Wait, where is this? I want to know where this is.
It's in one of his blogs. Like, he posted a blog calling Obbs a shithead, which, fairly dumb idea. It got
I
deleted, and
require
then
links.
search Jimmy the Grape. There's not going to be fucking many.
But
No, not that Jimmy the Grape, the other one.
Jimmy the Red Grape, not Jimmy the White Grape. He posted a blog calling Obbs a shit, deleted it, and then went to post something on Obbs's wall and found out he'd been blocked, and then threw a shitstorm because he'd been blocked by someone he called a shithead publicly.
We get some interesting basket cases on this site.
Yeah, there are some interesting.
Chat.
What's that?
What did Grugius link in chat? I don't know what I'm watching.
Oh, it's the song that he basically listens to on loop.
It's what?
Oh, Viva, I'm a tube link.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Arch just listens to this on loop. It's funny because when we're playing like War Thunder or something, you can hear it through his headphones. Just go. Do. Yeah. But yeah, so are there any good verses? I haven't encountered one. I haven't at all.
Oh. So if we haven't encountered one, Seattle's Angels is now going to write a verse. What aspect, or a verse / a collab? What are the good elements that we need?
The good element.
Intros and outros.
Actually, yeah, we do have the Seattle's Angel verse in that way. We do have the intros and outros to work with.
The intros and the verse that we need is
like, haven't we blown up our space station about?
That's really the only consistent thing.
Yeah, we blew up the space station, so we moved into the underground bunker / treehouse. Keep up, man.
/treehouse, I love that.
Yeah.
So for all the viewers out there, the way to have a verse that doesn't suck is if we do it, it doesn't suck. If you do it, sucks.
Wow. If you do it, we can't make any promises, but we've yet to see one that we like. So.
If you do write a Seattle's Angel story, I am actually a squirrel. Plum is actually a plum.
Yes.
C is
a queen.
Yes. Queen Helicoprion.
Yes, with a center.
Pav.
What is Pav? Pav is Pav.
Pav a loser.
I simply am.
Yeah, you simply am, and what you am is a loser.
Don't forget that sock is a sock.
Yep.
Yes, sock is a literally irate sock. Alex will not go more than 3 feet away from something Trixie shaped.
Yep. He'll be walking around with his Trixie body pillow.
Yeah. Ah, dear.
Corejo is only talked about in past tense because he got sucked into the World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Ripping pepperoni. That's.
The what?
See?
He's not even listening. He's too busy with the queue.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Casca is never there.
Yes, Casca is always somewhere else. So yes, on this final request that everyone write Seattle's Angels fanfiction, I think it's best to bring the podcast to a close because we are about reaching that mark, aren't we?
Well, we didn't have time to talk about our favorite Seattle Angels ships.
Wait, amongst ourselves?
Obviously. Well, I mean, we could have if we want to get real classy, we could do Seattle's Angels main 6 ships. That.
Oh God.
I mean, we already have Alex Trixie. I mean, which is almost main 6.
Yeah, almost main 6. Main 6 and a bit.
Yeah, when Gilligan's Island sings and the rest, they're referring to Trixie.
I ship Core with the portal.
If you want to write a story, though, write a story about a red squirrel walking west.
Yes.
Right, come on in, Bav. Let's bring this to an end. Let's kill this before it lives too long and becomes the villain.